So I left London Gatwick on my first part of the trip to Vietnam, and I stopped in a country called Turkmenistan, which I'd never heard of before, but it was along the way towards Vietnam, kind of a middle ground for a lot of Asian countries. So when I had landed in Ho Chi Minh, I jumped in a limousine all the way to visit an old friend of mine in Vung Tau. It was about an hour and a half, 2 hour journey, and it cost me £9, which would have been slightly cheaper, but I gave someone who got the taxi for me some money. So when I arrived in Vung Tau, I had a reservation at a place called Bobo Boutique. It's about £10 a night for a superior room, as you can see. They do also do deals if you're willing to speak to them and you're looking to stay longer than a few nights. You can bargain them down a little bit. As you can see, it's very busy at night. The Vietnamese seem to have markets from about 4 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock, and I guess because it's a cooler time of the day, that's when they do a bulk of their work. Just here in Vung Tau, Vietnam, and it is a beauty of a day today. Just strolling. How you doing? Just strolling about, checking it all out. I'm not a massive fish eater, but my oh my are the Vietnamese. There's also lots of markets and outdoor vendors that are selling fresh veg and fruit. There's also the odd person selling meat hanging from a hook. There is some beautiful paintings and also some amazing vases, lots of other cool creative things to be seen. There was certainly some lovely weather and beautiful views, with the temperature being around 30 degrees during the day and not dropping much lower than 28 or 27 Celsius at night. There's also plenty of little doggies who will come and say hello. I have a lot of respect for the people who are working out in these temperatures. They also work for very little. There is a beautiful beach in Vung Tau. In fact, there's two. There's one called the Front Beach and one they call the Back Beach. And I believe this one is the Back Beach. There's also a really cool lookout spot right by the lighthouse. If you're in Vung Tau and you look about, you'll be able to see it from a good view of the spots. It's beautiful, and I highly recommend you taking a trip up there. What else are you going to do when you're on a beach in paradise than punch a bull tied to a string? Well, I suppose you can always observe the locals in their natural habitat. So another thing I would recommend is There's a couple of hikes that you could do, or I guess I'll say walks. One with a church, which is where I'm at now, with lots of graven images about depicting Jesus going to the cross. But what I will say is, even if you're not a follower of the way and you're not into graven images, there's a few cool monkeys along the route. So I recommend checking this out, no matter what your beliefs are. These guys are mostly playful, and though I did catch one eating some sort of food that humans had littered. At large, you shouldn't feed the monkeys, and you also may need to be mindful that they are a wild animal. They could turn on you at any moment. So often I didn't stick around too much to try and get too close to them.
Whoa.
Although I did get pretty close to them compared to many people, I imagine.
Pretty much, you know. Brother.
So after seeing plenty of monkeys, some more graven images, plenty of steps and some more monkeys, I finally made it to the top. And when I say plenty of steps, please know I'm not exaggerating. Look at that sun shining a nice straight line across that water. It's almost like you can reach out and grab it. Now another place I went to whilst in Vung Tau was I believe it's a weapons museum. It was a museum of some kind. I kind of figured it would have some relevant stuff about the recent war. But no, it was just a lot of Western stuff. So if you've really been to a museum anywhere in any other country really, or at least in the West, it's very similar to that. So not recommended. What I do recommend is going to the other holy spot, which is the Redeemer, sat upon the top of the hill. It's a nice walk up there, and there's a few more graven images to be seen, but there's also beautiful views right at the top. And if fitness is your thing, there's some cool outdoor gyms and some awesome indoor gyms. This one cost about 60p a session. The beaches are stunning, and they are currently doing a lot of construction to the front beach. So in the next few years it's going to be very developed, with lots more resorts and apartments being built right alongside the beach. There are also quite a few different Buddhist temples scattered about the place that you could visit. There is a nightlife scene in Vung Tau. I didn't bother going out because I don't drink anymore, so it didn't really interest me. But my friends tell me there's some good places and some good times to be had. One thing I will say about Vietnam is they seem to really appreciate a good karaoke night. So if that's your thing, I'm sure you're going to love it. So the traffic in Vietnam is definitely different to what I've experienced in the UK and even in other countries. For one, they drive on the right hand side of the road, and as you can see, it's basically a free-for-all. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you are used to it, it's kind of fun. There's some cool different water features and statues and other bits and bobs scattered throughout the city itself. Along with everything else being sold, of course, there's some beautiful plants being sold in different places. So if you have a bike, or maybe you want to take a grab or a taxi, there's this beautiful church about 10 miles away from Vung Tau, and it's almost worthy of being called a cathedral. Some amazing architecture and probably worth a little visit if you enjoy construction or churches and just want a nice short little trip. There is also a cable cart you can take, which takes you up to the top of one of the mountains where there is a theme park. But for this journey I won't be going up there, so there's very little left for me to talk about, apart from perhaps the beautiful Vietnamese people and the food. So let me tell you about the food. There's a fair range of different stuff you can get, with prices from anywhere from around £1 or just over $1 all the way up to sort of $20–30 from what I have seen. I haven't been going anywhere too fancy, but mostly it's very affordable. The Vietnamese food is very affordable, but there is also plenty of Western stuff, so you can still get your home comforts. It's just a little tiny bit more expensive. One of my favourite things was just grabbing a coconut from the side of the road. They cut it open, stick a straw in it, and off you go. The fruit is also very tasty, and it's also very well priced here. Plenty of probiotics, good for the gut. They have snacks like cookies and beef jerky. They also like to keep the heads on the chickens when they eat them, and they even eat the chicken feet here. There's also grills and hot pots that you can have at your table, so you can cook the food in front of you to your liking. So I hope you've enjoyed this video of Vung Tau, Vietnam. Please stay tuned, as I will be making one for Ho Chi Minh City. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. Bye!